In the quiet town of Pleasant Ridge, surrounded by mountains and filled with ancient stories, 17-year-old Mary walked through the silent cemetery, a place that brought her peace. She was there to visit her mother Sophia's grave, a veterinarian loved by everyone in the community. The wind gently blew through the trees, creating a melancholic melody that seemed to accompany her thoughts. Mary approached the tombstone, placed fresh flowers, and sat down next to it, lost in memories of happier times. Then she noticed something unusual. A stray dog with brown fur and a sad look was lying next to a recent and unknown grave. Intrigued, Mary slowly approached, trying not to scare the animal. The dog, who would later be called Brave, lifted his head and watched her intently, but did not move. He seemed to be protecting that grave with an unusual dedication for an abandoned animal. Mary's curiosity grew. Why was that dog there? And whose grave was it? Determined to find out more, Mary began asking the residents and the cemetery caretaker Peter, who also didn't know much about the mysterious grave. The only certainty was that Brave seemed determined to stay there, as if he were guarding a secret that no one else knew. While Mary petted Brave, a sense of unease took hold of her. She knew there was something more to that story and was determined to uncover the truth. In the following days, Mary couldn't get Brave and the mysterious grave out of her mind. She returned to the cemetery every day, bringing food and water for the dog, who slowly began to trust her. Every time she approached, Brave wagged his tail and allowed her to sit by his side. One morning, while Mary was feeding Brave, she noticed that the dog seemed more alert than usual, as if expecting something. Intrigued, she decided to talk to Peter, the cemetery caretaker, again. She found him sweeping fallen leaves near the entrance and called out to him. "Peter, do you know whose grave that is where Brave stays?" "He's there every day. It seems like he's guarding something very important." Peter, an elderly man of few words, sighed and looked at the grave in question. "Honestly, Mary, I don't know. That grave appeared a few weeks ago, but no one has visited it since. It's strange, but life in the cemetery is full of mysteries." Unsettled by the lack of answers, Mary decided she needed help. She sought her friend Anne, who had an uncle in the police force. Together, they explained the situation to Anne's uncle, Officer Rivers, who agreed to investigate the unknown grave. The next day, Officer Rivers and his partner Gomez arrived at the cemetery. They brought the necessary documents to open the grave and investigate further. Mary and Anne watched the operation with bated breath, while Brave observed everything with attentive and protective eyes. As the excavation began, the tension in the air was palpable. Everyone present knew they were about to uncover something important. Mary held Anne's hand as the police carefully removed the earth and opened the coffin. What they found inside left everyone breathless. A young boy, dirty and gagged, was alive inside the coffin. His wide eyes showed both relief and fear. "My God, he's alive!" Mary exclaimed in disbelief. "How is this possible?" The police quickly removed the boy's bindings and gag, and he revealed his name, Luke. He explained that he had been kidnapped by a gang and placed there as retaliation against his father, a wealthy businessman. Brave, the loyal dog, had saved his life by watching over the grave and drawing Mary's attention. Now the young boy was safe, thanks to the courage of a stray dog and the determination of a girl. Mary petted Brave, her eyes filled with gratitude. "You're a hero, Brave. You saved his life. Now we need to ensure the culprits are punished." And with that promise, the investigation into Luke's kidnapping began, with Mary and Brave determined to help in any way they could. News of the discovery at the cemetery quickly spread through Pleasant Ridge, and everyone was shocked by the revelation. While Luke was taken to the hospital to recover, Mary and Brave became the center of attention. The local media was eager for details, and residents came to the cemetery to see where it all happened. The police, led by Officers Rivers and Gomez, launched a full investigation. They began questioning residents and searching for clues about Luke's kidnapping. Meanwhile, Edward, Luke's father, arrived in town in a state of despair. He was a well-known businessman, but no one knew his family was facing such a terrible situation. "Mary, you were incredible. I don't know how to thank you," said Edward, holding her hands tightly. "And this dog, Brave, He's truly a hero." Mary smiled, petting Brave, who was by her side, always vigilant. "He really is. We're all relieved that Luke is okay." As Luke recovered in the hospital, he began to share more details about his kidnapping. "I was on my way to school when I was approached by two men. They took me to an unknown location and kept me there for a few days. Then they put me in that coffin and said I would stay there until my father paid the ransom." The police were horrified by the cruelty of the crime. Rivers and Gomez intensified their searches, and with the information provided by Luke, they managed to identify and arrest those responsible for the kidnapping. The kidnappers were members of a gang that had tried to extort money from Edward, but underestimated the determination of Brave and Mary. Deeply grateful, Edward decided to do something special for the community of Pleasant Ridge. "I want to thank all of you for helping to save my son. Without Mary's and Brave's courage, and the diligent work of the police, Luke wouldn't be here today. I want to donate a significant amount to improve the town's infrastructure." The news of Edward's donation was met with joy. The funds would be used to build a new community center and a health clinic, benefiting all the residents of Pleasant Ridge. The town was celebrating, and Brave was officially adopted by the community as its mascot. A ceremony was organized to celebrate Brave's bravery and the solidarity of the residents. Mary was honored for her courage and determination. Today, we celebrate not only Luke's life, but also the strength of our community. "Together we can overcome any challenge," said the mayor during the ceremony. Brave, the hero dog, stood by Mary's side, receiving pets and applause from everyone. He had found his place, a home where he was loved and admired by all. And so, amid tears of joy and celebrations, the town of Pleasant Ridge was forever transformed. The mystery of the unknown grave had been solved, and the community's unity was reinforced, thanks to the indomitable spirit of a dog and the courage of a young girl. With the kidnappers' arrest and Luke's recovery, life in Pleasant Ridge began to return to normal, but the incident's marks were still present. Edward, fulfilling his promise, began implementing improvement projects in the town. The construction of the community center and the new health clinic was in full swing, bringing a new air of hope to everyone. But the town's calm was shaken again when an unexpected twist emerged. During the investigation, the police discovered that the kidnappers were part of a larger organization, with branches beyond Pleasant Ridge's borders. This meant that the danger was not entirely over. One night, while Mary was home studying, she received a call from Anne. "Mary, we need to meet. I have something important to tell you." They met at the local cafe, where Anne revealed shocking information. "My Uncle Rivers found out that the kidnappers had an accomplice within the town. Someone from inside helped organize Luke's kidnapping." Mary was stunned. "But who could do that? Why would someone from here do something so horrible?" Anne shook her head, equally perplexed. "We don't know yet, but we need to stay alert. My uncle believes this person is still out there watching." Determination appeared in Mary's eyes. She knew she couldn't let this threat continue. She decided to help the police in the investigation, using her knowledge of the town and her connections to find out who the accomplice was. Meanwhile, Brave seemed to sense the tension in the air. He was more vigilant than ever, following Mary's every move. The dog who had been astray had become her faithful protector, never letting her out of his sight. On a rainy night, Mary had an idea. "Brave, let's go to the cemetery. Maybe we can find something the police missed." With a flashlight in hand and Brave by her side, she returned to the place where it all began. Walking among the tombstones, Mary felt a strange sense of déjà vu. She approached the grave where she had found Luke and began searching for clues. Brave, always alert, sniffed around as if he knew exactly what to look for. Suddenly, Brave started barking frantically, digging in a nearby corner. Mary ran to see what he had found. Underneath some loose stones was a sealed envelope. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside the envelope were documents linking one of the local businessmen to the kidnapping. It was irrefutable proof that someone from inside had collaborated with the criminals. Mary knew she needed to take it to the police immediately. With a racing heart, she ran to the police station, Brave always by her side. She handed the documents to Officer Rivers, who was impressed with the discovery. "Mary, You just helped solve this case once and for all." Days later, the accomplice was arrested, finally bringing a sense of security back to the town. Luke, now more relieved, could move on with his life, knowing those responsible for his suffering were behind bars. Mary, seen as a heroine along with Brave, was honored by the town once again. "This dog changed our lives forever," she said emotionally during the ceremony. "And it shows that even in the darkest moments, there is always a light of hope."